Let's talk about while loops. I'm going to show you an example, and then we can discuss about the different ways of using a while loop. I'm going to create a variable I equals 0 while I is less than 20, and then I'm going to add these brackets. I'm going to write out the value of I. While loops are very similar to for loops. A couple of differences are that we have to create the variable we're using within the loop outside of the loop. So I'm going to create the variable here, I equals 0, and then within these brackets we only have the test. So the word while and then the test, we're testing the variable every time we've done the loop one time, and we're going to do whatever within these brackets, and I'm just writing out the variable I, or what's inside the variable I, to the screen. And the change to the variable we have to do manually here within the loop, so the last thing we're going to do is write I++. Let's try this and see how it works. You can see that we have the values 0 to 19, and of course, as before, is if we would like to include 20, just going to write as long as while I is smaller than or equal to 20, we're going to be stuck in the loop. So 0 to 20. And of course the same thing if we would like to start at 20 and go down to maybe 4 is greater than or equal to 4, and then we would like to go in steps of let's say we're going to do steps of 1. I'm going to write I minus minus is another way of decreasing I by 1. I start at 20 and we finish at 4. If I would like to go in bigger steps, let's say I equals I minus 2, so we go in steps of 2. I start at 20 and finish at 4. So as you can see, the way they work is a little bit different, but the result is pretty much the same. There's one difference though that we can use. For example, when we don't know before we start the program how many times we would like to do this loop, then we're going to choose the while loop. Basically, you can say that the for loop is only when you know how many times you would like to be stuck in the loop. While loop, maybe the person who is using the program can decide when we want to jump out of the loop. So let's do one example. Create a variable I, and then we're gonna say I equals int parse, and we're gonna read a line. We're going to read from the keyboard and save the value, the number, in I. And then while I is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to just be stuck in the while loop, and I'm going to write out a star. And then I'm just going to copy this line of code again. So basically, before we enter the while loop, we're going to enter a value from the keyboard. Then we're going to check if I is greater than or equal to 0. If it's a positive number, we're going to enter the loop. We're going to write out 1 star, and then we're going to enter a new value and assign it to the variable I. Then we go back here again, do the test, and see if it was a positive number. We're going to do one more time, and as long as we enter positive numbers, we're going to be stuck in this while loop. When we enter a negative number, this test is not true, so then we're going to continue after the while loop, which is here, and then the program is finished. So let's see if it works. Remember, I'm going to enter some positive numbers: 5, write out a star, 7, 45, just keep going like this. Even 0 works because 0 was included. Let's enter a negative number, -5. No star, and the program is finished. So with this while loop, basically the user is deciding how many times we're going to be stuck in the loop. So that's one difference between the while loop and the for loop.